support them. They need somebody to, not if they're doing wrong, you don't pat them on the back and say it's all right. But the thing about it is they need somebody to lift them up in prayer. See, we all need prayer. We all need help tonight. But our help tonight, my strength, comes from God. And that's where it's at tonight, Brother Jonathan. We look around in this world today and we think about, my problems are bigger than your problems. But honey, unless you have walked into somebody else's shoes, you don't know what they're going through. You may think that you do, but unless you have actually been in their shoes and you went through what they went through and you've had to face what they have faced, you really don't know what they're going through. You might think that you do, and you might think, well, they're just blowing it out of proportion. But honey, that may be a big thing to them. That may be something that can be the difference in them making it another day or going down. But you and I today, we need to share it with our people today. No matter what your trouble is, no matter what your problem is, there's a God in heaven that knows where you are at. He knows when your heart is broken, and He knows why it's broken, and He knows who broke it. He knows everything about it, and a lot of times we go to Him and we want to tell Him all the big things, but He already knows about it. All we got to do is go to Him and say, Lord, you know the situation. You know how I am broken, but you know how to move, and I'm asking you to move in my situation. I praise God. And I know today that you take somebody, they've been maybe married for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and they lose their husband or wife. Honey, they've got problems. They've got problems. They have lost half of their life. They've lost part of their self. And they're hurting today, and they need somebody to come to their rescue. They need somebody to just slip an arm around them and say, come on, honey, you can make it. You can make it by the help of the Lord. I know your heart is broken. You may have lost a child, and your heart may be broken, but I've got news for you today. There's a God that wants to put you in His arms and just tell you it's going to be all right. I praise God. As my wife sung that song, I praise God about, in other words, about the rose, and praise God. Sometimes God picks the best that heaven has, or that earth has, to take to heaven. I praise God. He don't take the worst. I praise God. And the only way He takes the worst is He takes them and He saves them and makes them the best, and then they are fit to go to heaven. And that's what you and I need today. We need to do something for the Lord. When problems seem to be too big, and sometimes they seem so heavy that you don't know what to do. You don't know which way to turn. That's why a lot of people commit suicide. It's because the problems arise, and those problems, just as the devil blows them out of proportion, I praise God, and people thinks I've got no hope. There's no use going on. But I've got news for you today. There's no problems bigger than my God. There's no problem that you'll ever face, that you'll ever go through, that my God can't deliver you from that. I praise God. The Hebrew children had come out of Egypt, and they were on their way to Canaan. They were coming out rejoicing, but they looked behind them. And when they looked behind them, they saw Pharaoh's host after them. And they looked in front of them, and there was the Red Sea, and there was no place to go. They were in a bad situation. I praise God. And they began to murmur and complain. You talk about a problem. They had a problem. But Moses knew the problem solver. And he prayed. He sought God. And God said, Moses, take the rod in your hand and hold it up over the sea. And he held it out over the sea. And God let an east wind begin to blow. And it blowed all night upon that sea. And in the morning there was a dry pathway. There was a highway through the midst of the sea. I praise God, and they went over because God knows you. He knows when you're in trouble.